Hey everyone, it's Graeme, street owner for cyclo-core and cycloclub.com, and you're going to join me today for a tip about the function of opener rides. An opener ride is a type of ride that's very short, typically very high intensity, and used at a very specific set of times before you have a big ride, event, or race. In my last video, we talked about peaking and tapering and how complicated and confusing it can be for many of us everyday cyclists that are eager to get to that event and worried that we haven't done enough training, not trusting our training before we get there. Now, many of you that are using Cyclo-90 in season, you recognize that every training plan I have, whether it be for road, mountain bike, endurance plans, racing plans, all of them have what's called a peak taper week. And in those weeks, we have what's called opener rides. Typically, these are the rides that are done the last 72 hours prior to your race or event. They're a little bit more important for racers than they are for endurance riders. However, what they serve the purpose for is to remind your body in that final phase that intensity, typically zone 3, zone 4, and for many of you racers, especially XC racers, zone 5 plus efforts are still going to be required in the very near future. Your body's in a state of recovery during that week, so it can tend to get a little bit compliant. We want to make it remember that in the next 24 hours, we're going to be juicing up. Now, the purpose of an opener ride is to get out here and do typically 3 to 5 sets of 90-second to as much as 5 or 6 minute intervals at your designated race pace. So many of you train hard, for week upon week upon week, but you're training solo or you're training with your group ride. What you can tend to forget, especially for you racers, is that race pace is a whole different ballgame. It really is. Take the hardest interval you can do with me in Cyclo-90 and add 20%. And that's race pace at the most critical functions. And we want to get out here and kind of what I call peel your face off. Today for me, as an example, is Thursday, 48 hours prior to my upcoming Wildcat 100 mountain bike race. Now, it's a 100-mile mountain bike race. How much zone 5 and zone 4 efforts should I require for that race? Well, hopefully if I've done my training correctly for my endurance, very few. If you're dishing out a lot of zone 5 efforts for a 100-mile mountain bike race, you're not going to last very long. You're going to explode at mile 20 and make 80 miles of pure suffering regardless of the course. So for me today, my opener segments was done out here on my Jet. My Jet 9 is the bike that I'll be using for Wildcat. This is also the bike I'll be using for BC bike race, so it's important that this bike is getting shaken down, meaning that I understand that everything that's on the bike right now is functioning correctly, shifting correctly, tire pressure. We've had really dry conditions out here in New England for the past several weeks for May, and out of nowhere, of course, now we have rain and more slick conditions. We're expecting rain this coming weekend for Wildcats. Not really pumped about that, so it's imperative to get out here today, test tire pressure. I've lowered tire pressure a little bit. I've also changed my front tire from an Icon in the rear, which is a great tire, but not fantastic in the mud, to a Specialized Captain Control 2.2, a much better tire in slicker conditions, muddy conditions, rocky conditions. Happy with the change, happy with the tire pressure, happy with the gearing setup, ready to go. Today, I did several openers, and those openers, for me, were a little bit longer because my event is more endurance-based. I did one, I think, 6.5, 7-minute segment at threshold, and it hurt. I won't lie. I mean, it didn't feel great. Mostly because most of my training for endurance-based, Cyclo-90 in season has been endurance-based. So although I've been using HIIT sessions just like you, higher intensity stuff, as we shift into in-season for endurance-based training, we're doing a lot more longer rides. And because of that, my body is not as high geared into zone 5 fitness. So for me, those segments are a little bit longer, a little bit lower intensity, but still hard enough to remind my body that I've got some hard segments coming up. For some of you racers, crit racers, XC racers, we're out here, 48 to 72 hours prior, even for some of you, 24 hours prior, and we're putting out, 90-second to 3-minute intervals at zone 5 VO2 max level effort. That means basically as hard as you can work for that designated amount of time. And we're taking, typically 2 to 3 sets of that. We're taking about 90 seconds to as much as 5 minutes rest. Typically, the less rest you need between those intervals means the more fit you are. And here's a quick tip, and I'm going to finish here. When you get out here for your opener rides, and I'm asking you to do an opener ride on maybe Thursday or Friday, and again, you may need to practice to find out where those opener rides are best placed. Some of you, it's right before the race, like 24 hours. For others of you, like me, I need like 48 hours to open up. Tomorrow I'll go back into recovery, and then I'm ready for Saturday. for racers, when you get out here, you want those segments to be hard as you can go. And when you feel good, okay, you want to cut the workout. My workout today was 40 minutes total. And actually total working time of actual work of I think 12 minutes out of 40. So it's not a lot of work, but the work that I did do is hard. For you racers, especially higher end racers, road racers, XC racers, fast, 2-hour races or less, we're doing 90 seconds to 3 minutes, zone 5. And when you feel good, you stop the workout as short as you can. I know it seems counterintuitive. When you feel like crap and you're like, man, this really hurts, you want to add 1 or 2 extra intervals and make it hurt even worse. I know that sounds totally the opposite of what you would do, but we're trying to open your body up, just like the name implies. We want to open your body up to make sure that it's ready to go. If you are a racer, a beginner racer, if you are a century rider, Cyclo 90, especially the in-season programs, racing, climbing, XC, enduro, centuries, everything is covered, including the taper and open rides. You can get it today. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Wish me luck for Wildcat 100. I feel ready. I don't really feel 100% today, but that's okay. I'd rather not feel 100% today, but feel 100% 48 hours from now. That's the purpose of today's ride. I do feel confident in my machinery. I will be giving you a review on the Jet 9 when I finish Wildcat and I'm in final prep for BC Bike Race. So we speak again. If you've got any questions, please let me know. I'll do my best to help you out.